My name is Jeremy Smith. I'm an archivist here at the UMass Amherst Libraries in the W.E.B. Du Bois Library. And I was born in 1972. I was born in Brighton, Mass, out in the eastern part of Massachusetts. My mom at the time was a single mom. She had just divorced from my father, so shortly after I was born, she moved out back to Western Mass, to Holyoke, where she was born, to be closer to her family so that they could help babysitting and whatnot. Well, archives are the historical record. They are documented proof that things happened, that people lived, that, or they can do a lot of things. Really, it can provide the record of proof that something happened, and sometimes that's necessary for legal reasons, or to prove something. If there's a debate in the future about a particular historical moment, archives can kind of put in stone that moment that actually happened. They can educate people. The further away you get from a historical moment, the more blurry it gets. Lots of different collections. Over here is part of the university archives. So a lot of this material in this row has to do with the history of the university. So there's stuff about students here, student groups, outing club, student body, student senate. I enjoy the content, I enjoy the work, but I also when I was a kid, I collected comic books, and as much as I loved reading comic books, I loved organizing them as well. I had, the storage boxes, and I liked putting the comics in the plastic sleeves and all that. So I was really into that. When I worked at the Media Education Foundation, we used to tape. In that time, it was videotapes. We used to tape a lot of footage off TV. So it was broadcast TV. We would record it. And so we had this growing library of videotapes, and they had to be organized, and we had to be able to find things, so they had to be logged. And I found that all of that work was kind of interesting and harkened back to collecting comics when I was a kid. So I've always been interested in organizing things. I still collect records today, like LPs, vinyl, and I really enjoy organizing that. So I like the organizational aspect to it, but also the content. This particular archive has a lot of material that attracts me. We have a lot of material on social change, and I'm sort of a student of the anti-war movement, the civil rights movement of the 60s and 70s. So just for fun, I read a lot of material on that time period, and we have a lot of collections of that time. So that is really engaging and exciting. And I also enjoy talking about it to students. Students come in here for classes, and I really like getting them aware of, excited about the collections that we have. Well, I've been lucky. I've been able to work on two really important collections, one of which was the Du Bois papers. Like I said earlier, we went through those, pretty much every piece of it, every page. So we became intimately familiar with the collection. And every collection is different. Some collections are things that someone collected about something else, so you don't learn a lot about the person. But in Du Bois's case, he pretty much saved all of his outgoing letters and all of his incoming letters. So he made copies of his letters that he sent out. So you'll see a letter that James Weldon Johnson wrote to him, and then you'll see Du Bois's response, and you'll see Johnson's response, and you sort of get a picture of a conversation. That's not always the case. A lot of times people only keep the letters that they got. So, the Du Bois collection is rich, it's historical. Du Bois was alive from the 1860s to the 1960s. He was in his 90s. He was born in Great Barrington. He died in Ghana. So he saw amazing things in his lifetime, and the collection represents that. It's a career that not a lot of people think about as a career, and it can be, I would say it's fun and rewarding, and it's a career to consider for sure. And there's all kinds of libraries. There's, this is an academic library, but there's public libraries, there's corporate libraries, which are, large corporations, or a law library, something like that. Well, like a law office might have a librarian who works and so if you're interested in law, that's another specialty. There's lots of different specialties in libraries. And even the skills that you learn in library school can be applied to other fields as well. So, organization, what I was just talking about with talking to donors, that's negotiating skills that can really come in handy in a business field, something like that. So the skills you learn in library school can be applied in other fields. So it's a pretty versatile field, and getting a master's in library science is only a 2-year program, so it's not too difficult.